Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios. I'm your Stockminer, Brian Johnson. We had a little run up today, didn't we? Again. Job numbers. We got the preliminary numbers yesterday. They were not that bad. And as you can see, coming into today, no effect at all. No effect at all on the markets. Really, either way, both up or down. I mean, we ended up going up for the day, but I don't know if you'll understand this, but I think, we went up for the day based on a lack of going down. Let me explain that to you. The job numbers came out today, and I think everybody was kind of a little bit holding their breath. What are they going to be? I mean, really, tentative reports are that unemployment's technically at 10.1%. However, they don't have to report that. Number one, if you ever really look at the job employment numbers, they give it like a plus or minus. I think the last time I checked, it was like plus or minus 250,000 jobs. So, in other words, they can allow those numbers to be off by 250,000 and still be okay. It's kind of magical how they use that. But the other thing is, a lot of the changes to the unemployment didn't come till about midway through September. So they didn't have to report that if they didn't want to. And they're not going to report that before the elections. It just wasn't going to happen. So they went ahead and came in with a very, very, albeit I really believe it's a very skewed number, but you know what, it is what it is. And the markets waited to see what would happen. And when the markets didn't start to tumble, they didn't start to drop. It dropped like, 2, 3, 4 points, whatever it was. I think that was the point that everyone went, okay, all right, worst is over. This isn't dropping. This isn't going to fall apart on us. And then they were able to the Bulls were able to kind of step in, take over a little bit again, and go ahead and drive the thing up and not be too concerned about it. So that's what I meant. There just wasn't a lack of bearishness. There was a complete lack of selling this morning. Hence, the Bulls were like, okay, we're still good. We're still good. And they were all day long. Managed to bring this thing back up. So here we are, still struggling with this blue line on the Dow. I don't know, I might tweak that ever so slightly this weekend and see if I can make that fit a little bit better, but really no reason to. It is what it is, and there it is. It's back below this blue line and kind of tracing it. Point being, our breaks for the week were really kind of below 10,700 and above 10,900, or even below, below 10,650 ultimately if it got down there. But above 10,900 was an entry this week, and it did move up a whole whopping 100 points. But hey, it did move up. Very hard to hold overnight. I honestly would not have done it. But there was opportunity to make a little bit of money up and over that 10,900 if you guys were following along for the week. Here was the break right here. Once we got above it, we stayed, we tested, and then we broke up again today to kind of finish out the week. So very, very weak movement by the Bulls once we got the break up and above 10,900. However, as long as it stays up here, it is still bullish. Gotta be neutral to bullish. I've been that way now for a long time. You guys are probably tired of me saying it, but look what it's done. It's done nothing but gone up since then, too. So the charts are telling me to remain neutral to bullish. So guess what? The charts have been right. My bias makes no difference. I am cautiously bullish. Personally, I am cautiously bullish. But I'm still not afraid to take the moves to the upside. It is what it is. This is why you let the charts tell you what to do. Don't let your bias tell you what to do. Here was the push here. We got the push above the blue line, came back to retest it. Nothing broke from a bull side. Still nothing broke from a bull side. But that 2025, the more aggressive entry, and then above 2030 was the more conservative entry, really going nowhere. Look at how this thing has just been working itself sideways for a while. Come back, kind of retest the 20, come back up, and then sideways, sideways, sideways. There's just not a lot of push right now. I really was thinking that we would have a more major break one way or the other. And to be honest, we got one day of moving up, and that was it. I got to say, I don't consider that a major break in the least bit, really. Still all sideways action. The last 2-3 weeks, look at this, consolidating. The move's going to happen. We got to be ready for it. But man, I'll tell you what, sometimes it gets tedious. It's tiresome to play. This is why you got to have individual stocks on your lists to play those individual stocks when the markets aren't moving. If you are an ETF guy, like to play the indices, man, boring the last 2-3 weeks. So here we're waiting for that push, looking to maybe make it up into this area if at all possible. No reason to think that we can't do it next week. But overall for the week, NASDAQ really not really going anywhere. But what is this formation, guys? We've seen it 1,000 times. It's a high base. High bases are bullish, bullish, bullish. SPX on a 60-minute also fighting with this blue line up here. Come up, test it, come back. Come up, test it, kind of stay there. Looking to get it, sneak its way into the 1170 to 1180 area. That's my next area of overhead resistance here, and you can see what we did. Move up, move sideways, move up. So everything holding very well here from a bull standpoint. Albeit slow, it is still a bullish. From a weekly, had that one really big push to the upside. Everything else has kind of crawled since then, but everything is still a go from the bull standpoint. Yes, this was a topping candle, but I told you guys I wouldn't put a lot of emphasis on it, and this is why. This turned out to be just a continuation candle now and not a reversal candle. Pretty boring. Pretty boring. So now that the weeklies are done, we can look at it and say, look, still moving up. Looking at that 1197 to 1200-ish area, and then above that, look, we're going to retest these highs potentially. Very, very big week coming up into options expiration. Look what we got today, too, the break below on the VIX. Now a good potential that we could just continue to come right back down into this lower blue line for another test of it. That will be something to really watch, especially in the next week with options expiration. We get back down into this area. This is a really good place to be investing maybe in some options. If you play options, the options will be very low, pretty cheap once the VIX gets down into this area. So not a bad time to start looking at some options coming into the next 4 to 6 months or so. From a weekly perspective too, just right back to where we were before, all sideways action, no fear. There's no fear in the markets here at all. When it comes, I think it'll pour in, but right now there's just nothing happening. Apple on a 60-minute. Okay, so we talked about this yesterday. I'm going to zoom this in. Hold on just a second. Let me show you what we were looking at for the formations. I got some answers to it. Let me show you what we are seeing. Hold on. All right, here's Apple. Zoom that in, and you can see what were we looking at right in through this whole move up. What does it make? Right now it makes a rising wedge. The rising wedge, and I'll change these lines this weekend, but the rising wedge is bearish ultimately. Yes, that's right, bearish. So some of you said rising wedge. You were absolutely correct. What else did we see in through here? This was another area I was talking about, right in through here. This, my friends, is an ascending triangle. Yes, straight across and up like so. This way and this way. And that is ultimately what? What is an ascending triangle? It is bullish. And look what happened. It broke up bullish just as it should have. Pretty cool. When you identify this stuff on the charts, guys, it makes life a whole lot easier to trade. Is it perfect? No. No system's perfect, but it sure does make things a lot easier. So once again, let me pump the mentoring courses, teach you all of this, show you all of this, exactly how to find this stuff, exactly how to draw proper trend lines. All of that information will be included in the mentoring. If you're interested in a little bit of a mentoring question and answer, let me know, and I'll put you in on the group. I think we're going to meet next week, early next week, probably Tuesday night. Tuesday night sometime is when we'll meet. Apple on a daily, looking at this here, move back down, right into resistance, moving up, and now into a potential double topping area here. But I don't know. You know what? Apple is reporting earnings here in the next couple weeks. Very common to see Apple run up into earnings reports. So do not be surprised if this thing breaks 295 next week and just continues to head upwards. That's kind of what I would more or less expect, actually. But we will see. Still got some work to do. Got to get up and over that 295 for that to be valid. From a weekly two, up above, moving sideways. It's all a high base formation. Still fine on Apple from a weekly perspective. FAS on a 60-minute moves sideways today, up 13 cents. No real trading over the last couple days. Did get, maybe some intraday opportunities, but overall, no trading here, as you can see. We didn't break that 23 area. We didn't break back below here. No trades up or down. Same thing here. We did not break the 1225 and we did not break the $13 area. Just a lot of choppy sideways action today on FAZ. You can see here, didn't break up above these areas, didn't break below those areas. Little tiny candle today going nowhere, trying to set up its next move. What do we have here? A potential double bottom. That'll be something for you guys to chew on into next week. We'll talk more about that in the weekend video. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up. Call it good for today. We will see you guys again this weekend. Sometime Sunday, I'll have the video out. Be watching for that. And we'll talk about what to expect coming into options expiration week. Until then, talk to you later. Bye.